勝負だカカロット。恋すぎだ。
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is AS and welcome to my YouTube channel. What is your summit? It is a question that will be presented to you at some point during your time with Cairn. It is a question that is relatable to each and every one of us. What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish? Will you feel accomplished by the end? How much are you willing to sacrifice to achieve said goal? In order to live a fulfilling life, I believe that we need to have, at the very least, daily manageable goals. Some of my daily goals, for example, are the improvement in my proficiency in 4 different languages, the increased ability to play 4 different musical instruments, and the day-long task of doing everything in my power to abide by a healthy lifestyle while, at the same time, doing what I love, which is playing video games. In Cairn, you are attempting to climb a literal summit. However, you will find out shortly after the introduction that there is more to this game than the insinuation after the first impressions that it is a quote-unquote climbing simulator. There are video games that are basic on the surface level, but develop into a truly unique experience. Some examples of said titles include Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Celeste, and Sea of Solitude. With that being said, Cairn is different from these titles. Unlike the 3 aforementioned examples that primarily tackled the negative impact of mental illness, Cairn attempts to be inspirational in its message while giving you the monumental task of climbing a mountain. I won't lie to you, my initial impressions almost encouraged me to quit the game and deem it to be not my type of game. Thankfully, I plowed through it, and I discovered a title that is not only my current game of the year, but one that taught me more than one valuable life lesson. What are those lessons? Let's find out. Without further ado, let's review Cairn, which was released this year and was played on the PlayStation 5. Story. I'm going to keep this part completely spoiler-free, as any hints will ruin the experience for newcomers. In short, you are playing the role of Ava, a famous climber who ventures off to conquer the biggest challenge of her life, climbing Mount Kami. She is initially unlikable and portrays herself as self-centered. However, her character ultimately transforms into an empathetic individual who is troubled by her decisions as she tries to reach the top of the mountain. You will also meet other characters, both as part of the story and while exploring the beautifully crafted world, and each of them develops the protagonist's character. The story in Cairn is both relatable and memorable. In addition, there are a few branching story-based decisions, as well as multiple endings. Nevertheless, the best portion of the narrative is hidden, and you must explore the various paths around the summit to discover a set of lore that is presented physically, visually, and audially. The last bit of the quote-unquote true ending can be a tad confusing, despite being thoroughly gorgeous, but I would argue that the plot is Cairn's best aspect. Visuals and audio design. From the moment you step into the initial path to the mountain, you will be immediately impressed by the title's lighting. Whether you are walking in the morning, at night, or through a rainy storm, the lighting on display here nicely complements the stellar level design, which heavily hints at the benefits of exploration. You may see a shortcut to the next section of the game, but there may be a cave off the beaten path that will yield rewards in the form of lore exposition and crafting materials. The character models may not be the epitome of visuals on the PlayStation 5, but they are serviceable and pay tribute to the old school character models from the PlayStation 2. As a whole, I have no complaints about Cairn's visual design, with the exception of a few frame rate drops. As far as the audio design is concerned, it has nothing but a positive influence on the title's story. The music is emotional and reminds me of the audio that you will hear in the background during some of the best scenes in the Avatar trilogy. The voice acting is also great, particularly from the protagonist, whose presence in the game is intriguing while attempting to depict different perspectives on what is transpiring in the story. Her performance towards the end of the game is especially touching. All in all, the music and the voice acting contribute to the lessons that the title's writers are trying to convey with Cairn's storytelling. Gameplay. The key to your enjoyment of Cairn depends on how much or how little exploration you're willing to complete. After the initial tutorial that will teach you how to ascend and descend different parts of the mountain, you are immediately placed near a bridge that will take you to the base of the mountain. You are not handheld towards the correct path, nor are you directly pointed towards interactable items. Rather, you are left to your own devices to invest yourself into an interesting hidden culture. However, its secrets will not be so easily encountered. You could focus on finding the direct routes to the top of the summit and breeze through your experience, but you will miss out on a surprisingly rich world that the developers have created for you. You may want to explore the various areas, but you will not be able to do anything if you do not understand the gameplay mechanics. In that case, let's talk about them. The primary system on display revolves around climbing. At first, I thought that it would be a simple methodology. However, the climbing mechanics of Cairn resemble the game Octodad, where you have to control 4 different limbs, 2 arms and 2 legs, to go up and down the mountain. It took me an hour or so to get used to the controls, but it will become second nature after a few ascents. The difficulty of each ascent increases throughout the game, but the challenge of your journey luckily never feels cheap. Unless you are playing on the hardest difficulty setting, there will never be a point where you blame the game for stumbling down the hill. It is up to you to make sure that your character is well fed, well nourished, and well rested before each attempt. Speaking of which, let's discuss the different ways that you can ensure Ava survival. As you climb a hill, you have the option to tie yourself to your position on the hill. If you follow a trip, you will return to your position instead of nosediving towards the bottom. Once you lock yourself in a position, you can rest to regain stamina. Restoring stamina is important, and you'll also want to do it as you are climbing up. I made the mistake of neglecting this mechanic, leading to plenty of stumbles on my end. There are a few types of terrain where locking yourself in a position is not possible, leaving you with no option but to properly strategize by pre-planning your route. Aside from understanding the climbing system, you will have to be aware about your protagonist's health. Is she hungry? Does she have enough stamina? Fortunately, you will come across many items throughout your adventure that will have a positive or negative effect on either attribute. You may have to cook some of them to transform them into edible versions of those items, which you can do at any point near one of the many save stations on the mountain. If you decide to rest inside of your tent, you will be able to perform other tasks such as fast forward time, fix different components of your gear, and check for weather patterns, which leads me to the final section of this review's gameplay portion. While you get comfortable with the title's day and night cycle, the developers decided to throw different weather patterns your way. You will come across rain, strong winds, and snow, each of which will add additional restrictions to your climb. Rain will restrict your grip, strong winds will knock you off course if you're not fastened to your position on the hill, and snow slows you down and completely changes the climbable terrain. Most of these extra limitations can be bypassed by fast forwarding time in your tent, but there are sections of the game where these setbacks are part of the level design instead of random weather patterns. Cairn's gameplay has many intriguing aspects that can be daunting to newcomers, but you will have an easier and more thought-provoking time with Cairn if you take your time, plan your routes, and most importantly, explore. Achievement and trophy support. I mentioned in the gameplay section of this review that the key to your enjoyment is exploration. Interestingly enough, exploration is also the key to your precious platinum trophy, or 100% achievement standing with Cairn, since many of the challenges are missable and are based on specific items you find around and within the mountain. Some of the challenges are story-based and will be automatically earned, such as completing your initial tutorial or taking a break near a waterfall. However, many of the challenges depend on collectibles such as finding a particular flower and delivering a letter to one of the characters that you will meet along your journey. These missable challenges are very easy to directly or indirectly skip towards your venture to the tippy top. They are not inherently difficult, but I would have a guide on standby if you want to avoid additional playthroughs, unless you are an absolute mastermind of exploration. If you want to earn all the achievements and trophies, use a guide and play on one of the easier difficulty settings. Believe me, you do not want to play in the hardest difficulty setting while honing in on the Platinum Trophy or 100% achievement completion. Replayability and fun factor. If you are able to experience all of the side content and lore bits that the game has to offer, a single playthrough of Cairn will suffice. At the same time, there is a challenge that will stare at you from the moment you arrive at the main menu and click on the new game option. The challenge's name is Free Solo. As a cool homage to 2018's Free Solo film, The free solo difficulty setting offers a brutal version of Ava's journey with grueling restrictions. If you die once, you restart the entire game. You lack any safety equipment. Your inventory is severely limited. Cairn offers cool accessibility options that you can enable while playing on the easier difficulty settings, but they are disabled and prohibited during your free solo playthrough. Cairn may not have additional modes beyond the campaign, but the challenge of the free solo difficulty setting is more than enough to keep you busy post-game. Is the game fun? I would say that it's more rewarding and educational than fun. Don't get me wrong, it is a fun game, but the reason as to why I love Cairn so much is because of the lasting impression that it leaves on you as you watch the end credits. In the end, Cairn is comparable to the previously mentioned Celeste. Both titles ask the protagonist to climb a mountain, rendering it a climbing simulator quote-unquote. However, there's a noteworthy difference between the games. Celeste is a platformer that, by its conclusion, tackles the issues of mental illness and the significance of talking about your problems instead of secluding yourself from others. Cairn, on the other hand, highlights a dilemma of goal setting. Is your goal achievable? Are you willing to sacrifice other parts of your life if it means that you will be one step closer to success? You will pick the answers to these questions for the protagonist, and her reaction and the outcome of the entire narrative will hopefully encourage you to reflect on your own life and the best decisions that will lead you to your own goals. This opportunity for self-reflection, among the other reasons that were explored in this review, leave me no choice but to recommend this title with the highest regard. I will give Cairn from 2026 on the PlayStation 5 a 9.8 out of 10. Well folks, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for checking it out. What are your thoughts on Cairn? Are you brave enough to try it on the free solo difficulty? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As an unconventional ending to the video, I would like to leave you with the question that the game displays by the title's conclusion. What is your summit? Which obstacles are you trying to overcome? Which dream are you trying to achieve? These questions will not only conclude this review, but they will do so while solidifying the game as a top-tier indie game and my current game of the year for 2026. Till next time, have a great day or evening wherever you are. My name is AS, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.